you cannot relax with Stalin and Russia. It is all relaxed. And look what happened to him.
Well, it was too late.
Miss Klenkov, Miss Klenkov!
And if he had not relaxed, the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina would not be selling baked beans today.
Miss Klenkov!
I'm sorry, we go back to the pirouette.
Mr. DePinna, could you flex your muscles? Yes, that's right.
Until clear, Mr. Hill. The whole body must work. And help us with the music. The music must be free too. Sycamore!
What?
Mrs. Sycamore!
What, Reba?
Good evening. How do you do?
How do you do?
Are we too early? No, it's perfectly all right. We're glad to see you. Come on in.
Why, yes, only we thought it was to be tomorrow night. Tomorrow night?
What?
Now, it's perfectly all right. Just make yourselves at home.
Tony, how could you possibly have done such a thing?
I don't know.
Really,
I thought...
Tony, this is most embarrassing.
Why, not at all. We weren't doing a thing.
No, just a quiet evening at home.
That's all. Now, don't let it bother you. This is Alice's mother, Mrs. Sycamore.
How do you do?
Alice's sister, Mrs. Carmichael, Mr. Carmichael, Miss Kalinkov, and Mr. DePinna.
How do you do?
Don't mind my costume, I'll take it right off.
Mr. DePinna, would you tell Mr. Sycamore to come right up? Tell him that Mr. and Mrs. Kirby are here.
And be sure to put his pants on.
Okay. Excuse me.
Thank you. I'll tell Alice that you're, Alice, dear, what is it? Would you come down, dear? We have a surprise for you. Well.
May I take your wrap, Miss Kirby?
Oh, well, thank you. You know, if you're perfectly sure that we're not. Oh!
Now, don't be alarmed, Miss Kirby. They're perfectly harmless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ed, take them into the kitchen.
Of course, we're so used to having them around the house. I'm sorry to trouble you, but snakes happen to
I feel very uncomfortable about all this. Tony, how could you have done such a thing?
I don't know. I thought it was tonight.
Well, that was very careless of you. Very.
Oh, now, anybody can get mixed up, Mr. Kirby.
Now, Penny, how about you get some dinner for these folks? They've come for dinner after all.
Oh, please don't bother. We're really not hungry at all. It's not a bit of bother. Ed, tell Donald to run down to the A&P and get half a dozen bottles of beer and some canned salmon. Do you like canned salmon, Mr. Kirby?
Please don't trouble yourself, Mrs. Sycamore, and besides, I have a bit of indigestion, so...
Oh, I'm sorry. How about you, Mrs. Kirby? Do you like canned salmon? Oh, I'm very fond of it. You can have frankfurters if you'd rather. Either one will do. Well, make a frankfurters, add some canned corn and Campbell soup. Got that, Ed?
Okay.
And tell him to hurry. The A&P is just at the corner, and frankfurters don't take any time to boil.
And this is Alice's father, Mr. Sycamore. Mr. and Mrs. Kirby?
How do you do?
I hope you'll forgive my appearance.
This is Mr. Sycamore's busiest time of the year. Just before the 4th of July, he's... Oh!
Darling, I'm the most dull-witted person. I thought it was tonight.
Why, Tony, I thought you... I'm so sorry. I can't imagine why. Have you all met each other?
Yes, indeed.
How do you do, Alice?
How do you do, Mrs. Kirby? I'm afraid I'm not very presentable.
Darling, you look lovely.
Of course she does. Look, my dear, don't let this upset you. We've only just met each other a night sooner, that's all.
Of course.
But I was planning such a nice party for
tomorrow night.
Well, we'll come again tomorrow night.
There you are, Alice. Am I forgiven?
I guess so. It's just we'd better see about getting you some dinner.
Oh, that's all done, Alice. That's all been attended to.
Yes, but Mother, what did you send for? Because Mr. Kirby has indigestion. He can only eat certain things.
Oh no, Alice, it's all right. It's all right.
Of course it is.
I asked him when he wanted, Alice.
Yes, but
Now, it's not as serious as all that. Just because I have a little indigestion.
Perhaps it is not the indigestion at all, Mr. Kirby. Perhaps you have the stomach ulcers.
Don't be absurd, Miss Kalenkov.
You mustn't mind Miss Kalenkov, Mr. Kirby. She's a Russian. and Russians are inclined to look on the dark side.
All right. I am Russian, but a friend of mine, a Russian, died from the stomach ulcer.
Really?
Please, Miss Kalenkov, Mr. Kirby has indigestion, and that's all.
All right. Let him wait.
Do sit down, Mr. Kirby. Make yourself comfortable.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Kirby, how are business conditions? Are we pretty well out of the depression?
What? Oh. Why, yes. I think so. Of course, it all depends.
Well, things must be improving.
Broadly speaking, yes. As a matter of fact, industry is now operating at 64% of full capacity. As against
Once was a woman from Wheeling who had a remarkable feeling. She laid on her back and she tickled her crack and she over the ceiling.
That must seem a little strange to you people. But she is unaccountable for her actions. A friend of Miss Sycamore's. She came over for dinner and was overcome by the heat.
Yes! Some people feel it, you know, more than others. Perhaps I'd better see if she's all right. Excuse me, please.
It is awfully hot. You usually escape all this hot weather, don't you, Mrs. Kirby? Up in Maine?
As a rule, I had to come down this week. However, for the flower show,
That blue ribbon is the high spot of Mother's year. She wouldn't miss that for the world.
I won a ribbon at a flower show once for raising onions. Remember, Alice? That was a garden show, Essie. Oh, yes.
I think she'll be all right now. Has Donald come back yet?
No, he hasn't.
Well, he'll be right back and it won't take any time at all. I'm afraid you must be starved.
It's quite all right. It's a mechano set. Huh. Why, I didn't know there were little children in the house.
Oh no, that's mine.
Oh, really? Well, I suppose every man has his hobby. Or do you use it as a model of some kind?
Nope, I just play with it.
I see.
Maybe you'd be better off, Father, if you had a hobby like that, instead of raising orchids.
Oh, yes, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, do tell us about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. You know, they take 6 years to blossom, don't they? Think of that.
Well, some of them take longer than that. I've got one coming along now I've waited 10 years on.
Believe it or not, I was waiting for an orchid once.
Yes. Of course, it's during this time that they require the most scrupulous care. I remember a bulb I was very fond
Donald!
of.
Ah, here we are. Did you get everything, Donald?
Yes, ma'am. Only they didn't have any frankfurters, so I got us pickled pig's feet instead.
Never mind, Donald. Just bring everything into the kitchen. Mr. Kirby, do tell them all about your orchids. I'm sure they'd be happy to hear it. And, excuse me.
Quite an expensive hobby, isn't it, Mr. Kirby? Raising orchids.
Well, yes, but I feel that if a hobby brings one sufficient pleasure, it's never expensive.
Very true.
You see, I need something to relieve the daily nerve strain. After a week at Wall Street, I'd go crazy if I didn't have something like it. A lot of men I know own yachts, just for that very reason.
Well, why don't they quit Wall Street?
How's that?
I was merely joking.
How's that?
I was merely joking.
I think it's necessary for everyone to have a hobby. Of course, it's more to me than a hobby, but my great solace is spiritualism. Spiritualism. Now, Mrs. Kirby, everybody knows that's a fake. To me, Miss Sycamore, spiritualism is, well, I would rather not discuss it, Miss Sycamore.
Remember, Penny, you've got one or two hobbies of your own now.
Yes, but not silly ones.
I don't think it matters what the hobby is. I think it's just important to have one.
To be ideal, a hobby should improve the body as well as the mind. The Romans were a great people. Why? What was their hobby? Wrestling. In wrestling, you must think quick with the mind and act quick with the body.
Well, yes, but, well, you see, I feel that wrestling isn't very practical for most of us. I wouldn't make a very good showing as a wrestler myself.
You could be a great wrestler. You're built for it. Look.
Mr. Kirby! Oh, Mr. Kirby, I'm hurt!
Mother, are you all right?
Where's my pocket watch? Where's my pocket?
Here it is, Mr. Kirby. Oh, Mr. Kirby, I'm afraid it's broken.
Oh, I am sorry, but when you wrestle again, Mr. Kirby, you will of course not wear the watch.
I do not intend on wrestling again, Miss Kalenkov.
Better sit down, Father.
Miss Kalenkov, how could you do such a thing? Why didn't anybody stop her?
I think, if you don't mind, perhaps we had better be going.
Mother.
Mrs. Kirby, please. Please don't go, Mr. Kirby. Please. I've ordered scrambled eggs and a plain salad. Just, please don't go.
I am sorry if I did something wrong, and I apologize.
I'm so sorry. If I'd have been there, none of this would have ever...
That's quite all right, Allison.
Of course it's all right. We're not going.
Well, that was exciting for a moment, wasn't it?
You were speaking about your orchids, Mr. Kirby.
Oh, I'm afraid I've quite forgotten about my orchids, Mr. Vanderhoff.
I'm awfully sorry.
What did I do that was so terrible? I threw him on the floor. Did I kill him?
Please, Miss Kalenkov!
I'm sure dinner won't be any time at all now. Do you want some candy while you're waiting, Mr. Kirby? I've got some fresh lemonade.
No, my doctor does not permit me to eat candies, thank you.
Oh, but these are nothing. Just coconut, marshmallow, and fudge.
No.
Don't, Essie. Well, Salas.
Excuse me.
What is it, Reba? The eggs are down on the sink. Oh, well, make some more, quick. I ain't got any. Oh, then send Donald out for some. All right. And tell him to hurry. I'm sorry, there will be a little delay, but everything will be ready in just a minute. Whoosh.
I've certainly put you people to a lot of trouble with my stupidity.
Why not at all, Tony?
Look, why don't we all play a game of some sort while we're waiting?
Oh, that'd be fine.
Mother, I don't think...
I have an idea. I know a vocal trick. There's a glass of vodka.
No, Miss Kalenkov!
No, Miss Kalenkov.
But I'm sure that Mr. and Mrs. Kirby would love this game. It's perfectly harmless.
Please, Mother.
I'm afraid I'm not very good at games, Mrs. Sycamore.
Any fool could play this game, Mr. Kirby. All you do is write your name on a piece of paper.
But Mother, Mr. Kirby
He
doesn't...
will love it. Here you are, Mr. Kirby. Write your name on this piece of paper. And Mrs. Kirby, you do the same on this one. Mother,
What is this game?
I used to play it at school. It's called Forget Me Not. Is that clear? For instance, if I say grass, you may put down green, just whatever you think of, see? Or if I call a table, you may put down chair. It shows the reactions people have to different things. Do you see how simple it is, Mr. Kirby?
Come on, Father, be a sport.
Very well. I shall be happy to play.
You see, Alice, he does want to play.
Yes, but Mother...
Now then, are we ready?
Ready.
Remember, you must play fair. Put down the first thing that comes into your mind.
Yes, I understand.
Well, everybody ready? The first word is potatoes. Potatoes. Ready for the next one? Bathroom.
Mother.
Bathroom. Got that?
Go ahead.
All ready? Last. Mother, this is not nonsense, Alice. That word's all right.
Mother, it's not all right.
Oh, I don't know. It seems to me that that's a perfectly fair word. You see? Now, you mustn't interrupt the game.
May I have that last word again, please?
Last, Mr. Kirby.
I've got it.
This is certainly quite the game, isn't it?
Grandpa. The next word is honeymoon. Now, Essie. Oh, and the last word is sex. Mother! Everybody got sex? May I have your paper, Mr. Kirby?
What happens now?
Oh, this is the best part. Now, I read out your reactions.
I see. Why, this is quite an interesting game.
I knew you'd like it. I'll read your paper first, Mr. Kirby. I'm going to read Mr. Kirby's paper first, everyone. Potato, steak. That's very good. See how they go together? Steak and potatoes?
Why? I mean, I just happened to think of it. I mean,
It's very good. Bathroom, toothpaste. Less unlawful. Very good. Honeymoon trip. And sex, mayo. Oh, right. Of course you are. That's really a wonderful paper, Mr. Kirby.
why, thank you. I mean, it's more than just a game, you know. It's sort of an experiment in psychology, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It shows just how your mind works. Now we'll see how Mrs. Kirby's mind works. Everybody ready for Mrs. Kirby? Potato starch. I know just what you mean, Mrs. Kirby. Mm-hmm. Oh, bathroom, Mr. Kirby.
How's that?
Bathroom, Mr. Kirby.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow that, my dear.
I just thought of you in connection with it after all. You are in there a good deal, bathing and shaving. Well, you do take a long time.
Indeed. Well, I hadn't realized I was being selfish in the matter. Go on, Mrs. Sycamore.
I think this is a very silly game and we ought to stop it.
Yes.
No. Please, carry on, Mrs. Sycamore. What was the next word?
Lust, human.
Human? Really, Miriam?
I just meant, Anthony, that lust is, after all, a human emotion.
No, I'm afraid I must disagree with you, Miriam. Lust is not a human emotion, it is depraved.
Very well, Anthony, I'm wrong.
Really? It's such a pointless game. Perhaps we play 20 questions.
Yes.
No. I find this game to be rather interesting. Please go on, Mrs. Sycamore. What was the next word?
Honeymoon.
Why, yes, honeymoon. And what was Mrs. Kirby's answer to honeymoon?
Honeymoon. Dull.
Did you say dull?
Hot Springs were not very gay that season. All those old people sitting on the porch all afternoon with nothing to do at night.
Nothing to do. That was not your reaction at the time, as I
Come
recall.
on, Father, this is only a game.
A very illuminating game. Please go on, Mrs. Sycamore. What was the next word?
Oh, this one's all right, Mr. Kirby. Sex, Wall Street.
Wall Street? What do you mean by that, Miriam?
I don't know what I meant, Anthony. Nothing.
Well, you must have meant something by it, otherwise you wouldn't have put it down.
It was just the first thing that came into my head, that's all.
Okay, yes, but what does it mean? Sex, Wall Street.
Oh, I don't know what it means, Anthony. It's just that you're always talking about Wall Street, even when... I don't know what I meant. Nothing. Would you mind really if we didn't stay for dinner? I'm afraid this game has given me a headache.
I understand, Mrs. Kirby.
Yes. Perhaps we'd better postpone the dinner if you don't mind.
But you're coming again tomorrow night, aren't you?
I'm afraid we have an engagement tomorrow night.
Yes. Well, perhaps we just better postpone this whole affair a little while. The hot
I think we're being very ungracious. Of course we'll stay to dinner tonight.
I have a very bad headache, Tony.
Yes, Tony, come. I'm sure everyone understands.
Well, I don't. I think we ought to stay.
No, Tony.
What?
We were fools, Tony, ever to think this would work. It won't. Mr. Kirby, I won't be at the office tomorrow. I won't be there at all anymore.
What are you talking about?
Alice, I'm sorry. Truly. Are you ready, Miriam?
Yes, Anthony.
Darling, you mustn't mind this.
Well, it was very lovely to have met you all.
Yes. Lovely.
Are you coming, Tony?
No, Father, I'm not.
I see. Well, your mother and I will be waiting for you at home. Good night.
Everybody stay right where you are. Don't move.
How dare you? What's the meaning of this?
What is all this?
I demand an explanation.
Keep your mouth shut.
Which one is he?
This is him. Hey, now what are you doing? Why? What do you mean?
Grandpa, what is it?
This is an outrage.
Shut up. What's your name?
Edward Carmichael. I haven't done anything wrong.
Oh, you haven't, huh?
This seems rather high-handed to me. What is this all about?
Department of Justice.
Oh my goodness, J-Man! Ed, what have you
I
done?
haven't done anything. What's the boy done, officer?
What is it? What's it all about?
Does that relate to the cellar?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Mac. Jim?
Yes, sir?
Check upstairs, see what you find.
Okay.
I haven't done anything.
You! Come here. These look familiar to you?
They're my circulars.
Oh, so you print this stuff, huh?
Yes, sir.
Then you put them in the box of the candy and you get them into people's homes.
But I don't mean anything by
Oh, you don't, do you? Dynamite the Capitol, dynamite the White House, dynamite the Supreme Court. God is the state is God.
But I don't mean anything by it. I just like to print. Don't I, Grandpa?
Now, officer, the government is in no danger from Ed here. He just likes to print. It's his hobby. He prints anything.
He does, huh?
I've never heard of such nonsense.
I refuse to stay here and...
Hey, let me get my pipe, will you? Let me get my pipe!
Shut up, you! You were right, Chief. They've got enough gunpowder down there to blow up the whole city.
Alright, that's it. Everyone in this house is under arrest.
How's that?
Oh, good heavens.
Now, this is all nonsense.
You better let me get my pipe.
Shut up, all of you.
Seems to me
Shut up!
Stop it already!
Who is that?
That is my mother.
For the appearance in the West Side Court this morning, after spending the night in jail, the defendants, 13 in all, were brought before Judge Callahan and given suspended sentences for the manufacturing of fireworks without a permit.
Yeah, kept me in the same cellar with a strip teaser from a burlesque show.
I was in the same cell as Mr. Kirby. Ma, he was mad.
Mrs. Kirby and the strip teaser, they were fighting all night.
Whole lot about Mr. Kirby in here. Anthony W. Kirby, head of Kirby and Company, 62 Wall Street, who was among those apprehended, declared that he had no interest in the manufacturing of fireworks, but he did not state why he was on the premises at the time of the raid. Mr. Kirby is a member of the Union Club, the Racquet Club, the Harvard Club, and the National Geographic Society. Ma, he certainly is a joiner.
Yep, all them rich folks are elks or something.
And I suppose after all this, Mr. Tony ain't ever gonna marry Miss Alice, huh?
Nope, and it's a shame too. Miss Alice sure loves that boy. Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do with all that food in the kitchen. Ain't gonna be no party tonight, that's for sure.
Ain't we gonna eat it anyhow?
Well, I'm cooking it, but they ain't gonna eat it.
Well, I'm hungry.
But they ain't. They're all so broke up about Miss Alice.
Where's she wanna go anyway? Where's she gonna go?
I don't know, mountain someplace. And she's going too. I know Miss Alice when she gets that look in her eye.
It's just too bad, ain't it?
Sure is.
Not even a balloon left. Look.
How's your head, Mr. DePinna? Better?
Yes, it's better. Is there some more olive oil out there?
It's in a salad bowl.
Thanks.
Well, she's going. Nothing anybody said could change her.
She isn't gonna be away long, is she, Mrs. Sycamore?
I don't know, Reba. She won't say.
My, it's sure gonna be lonesome here without her.
How you feeling, Mrs. Sycamore?
Oh, I'm all right, Donald. Just kind of upset. Maybe if I do some work, I'll feel better.
Well, I won't bother you then, Mrs. Sycamore.
She's going, Penny.
Yes.
No, Penny.
I can't help it, Paul. Somehow I feel it's our fault.
It's mine more than yours. All these years I've just been going along, enjoying myself, when maybe I should have been thinking more about Alice.
Don't say that, Paul. You've been a wonderful father. And husband.
No, I haven't. Maybe if I had gone ahead and been an architect, or I don't know, something Alice could have been proud of. I felt that all last night looking at Mr. Kirby.
But we've been so happy, Paul.
I know, but maybe that's not enough. I used to think it was, but I'm all mixed up now.
What time is she going?
Pretty soon. Train leaves 7:30.
If only she'd see Tony. I'm sure he could persuade her.
But she won't. He's been trying all day.
Where is he now?
I don't know. Suppose walking around the block again. Anyhow, it's no use. She won't talk to him.
Maybe Tony can catch her as she's leaving.
It won't help any.
No. I don't suppose so. I feel so sorry for Tony, too. Well, Grandpa?
Now, Penny, let the girl alone.
But Grandpa...
Suppose she goes to the Adirondacks. She'll be back. You can only take so much Adirondacks, and then you come home.
It's all so terrible, Grandpa.
Yes, but there's a bright side to it as well.
How do you mean?
Well, for one thing, the look on Mr. Kirby's face when he entered that patrol wagon, or when he and Donald had to take a bath together. I'll never forget that if I live to be 100. And I warn you people, I intend to, if I can have things like that going on.
Oh, it was even worse with Mrs. Kirby, when the matron stripped her. There was a burlesque dancer there. She kept singing a strip song while Mrs. Kirby undressed.
I bet you Bar Harbor will seem pretty dull to the Kirbys this summer. Oh, Alice, need anything?
No thanks, Grandpa. I'm just going to press these.
Alice, dear.
Now, Penny.
I'll bring the big bag down when you're ready.
Thank you.
Do you want to take some candy along for the train, Alice?
No thanks, Essie.
Really, Alice? You could be just as alone here as you could be in the mountains. You could stay right in your room all the time.
No, Mother. I want to be by myself, away from everybody. I love you all, you know that. I just have to go away for a while, and I'll be all right. Father, did you phone for a cab?
No, I didn't know you wanted one.
Oh, I told Mr. DePinna to tell you, Paul. Didn't he tell you?
Oh, he told me, but I forgot.
I wish I lived in a family that didn't always forget everything, that behaved the way other people's families did. I'm sick of cornflakes and Donald and everything. Why can't we be like other people? Roast beef and 2 green vegetables and doilies on the table and a place you could bring your friends to without... I'll see if I can do anything.
Tony, talk to her. She's in the kitchen.
Thanks. Will you listen to me, please?
Tony, it's no use.
Alice, you're not being fair. At least let me talk to you.
Where'd they go?
Upstairs.
She walked out the minute he came in.
Knocked the olive oil right out of my hand. I guess smell kind of fishy.
How you feeling, Mr. DePinna? Hand still hurting you?
No, it's better.
Everything burnt up? Downstairs?
Everything. My Roman costume, too.
I told you there was a bright side to everything. All except my 24 years back income tax. I get a new letter every day.
Say, what are you going to do about that, Grandpa?
Well, I kind of came up with a plan yesterday. I'm not too sure if it'll work, but I'm going to try it anyhow.
What is it?
Good evening, everybody.
Why, Miss Kalenkov?
Forgive me, the door was open.
Come on in.
You will excuse my coming today. I realize you are upset.
It's all right, Miss Kalenkov.
I don't think I could take a lesson today, Miss Kleinkopf. I don't feel up to it.
Well,
Oh, but do stay to dinner, Miss Kalenkov. We've got all that food out there, and somebody's got to eat it.
I will be happy to, Madame Sycamore.
Fine.
Thank you. Now, I wonder if I know you well enough to ask of you a great favor.
Why, of course, Miss Kalenkov. What is it?
Well, you've heard me talk of my friend, the Grand Duchess Olga Katerina?
Yes.
She is a great woman, the Grand Duchess. Her cousin was the Tsar of Russia, and today she is a waitress in Child's Restaurant, Times Square.
Yes, I know. If there's anything at all that we can do, Miss Kalenkov.
I tell you, the Grand Duchess has not had a good meal since before the revolution.
She must be pretty hungry.
And today is not only her day off, Thursday, but it is also the anniversary of Peter the Great, a remarkable man.
Why, Miss Kalenkov, if you mean you'd like the Grand Duchess to come to dinner, why, we'd be honored.
Oh, yes.
In the name of the Grand Duchess, I thank you.
I can hardly wait to meet her. Where is she now?
Oh, she is outside in the street waiting. I bring her in.
And fix your collar. I see your dress. How do I look?
I swear if this keeps up, I'll live to be 150.
The Grand Duchess, Olga Katerina. Your Highness, permit me to present Madame Sycamore, Madame Carmichael, Grandpa,
Madam.
Monsieur Carmichael, Monsieur Sycamore, and Monsieur Dupin.
All right, now, Mr. Dupin.
Would you be seated, Your Highness?
Thank you. You are most kind.
We are honored to receive you, Your Highness.
I am most happy to be here. How soon is dinner?
Oh, it'll be quite soon, Your Highness. Very soon.
I do not mean to be rude, but I must be back at the restaurant by 8 o'clock. I am substituting for another waitress.
I will make sure you're on time, Your Highness.
Thank you, Miss Kalenkov.
Say, Grand Duchess, I think you waited on me in Childs once. The 72nd Street place?
No, that was my sister.
The Grand Duchess Natasha.
I work in Times Square.
Oh, there must be a lot of you people living here now, aren't there?
Oh yes, many. My uncle, the Grand Duke Serhiy, he is an elevator man at Macy's. A very nice man. Then there is my cousin, Prince Alexei. He will not speak to the rest of us because he works at Hattie Carnegie. He is in ladies' underwear.
When he was selling hot dogs at Coney Island, he was willing to talk to you.
Miss Kalenkov, our time is coming. My sister Natasha is studying to be manicurist. Uncle Serhiy, they promised to make floor walker. And next month, I get transferred to the 5th Avenue Childs. From there, it is only a step to Schrott's. And then, we will see what Prince Alexei says.
I think you've got him.
You are telling me?
Your Highness, did you know the Tsar? Personally, I mean.
Of course, he was my cousin. It was terrible what happened, but perhaps it was for the best. Where could he get a job now?
Pravda, that is true.
And poor relations are poor relations. It is the same in every family. My cousin, the King of Sweden, he was very nice to us for about 10 years. Every once in a while, he would send in a money order. But then one day he said, I just cannot go on. I'm not doing so well myself. I do not blame him.
No, of course not. Would you excuse me for a moment, Your Highness?
Tell me, Grand Duchess, is it true what they say about, Rasputin?
Everyone wants to know about Rasputin. Yes, my dear sir, it is true. And how?
You don't say.
Your Highness, we've got to watch the time.
Yes, I must not be late. The manager does not like me. He is a communist.
We'll hurry things up. Essie, why don't you go out in the kitchen and see if you can help Reba?
I will help too. I'm a very good cook.
But Your Highness, not on your day off.
I do not mind. Where is your kitchen?
Right through here, but you're the guest of honor, Your Highness.
But I love to cook. Come, Miss Kalenkov. If they've got sour cream and hot cheese, we will make you some blintzes.
Ah, blintzes. Come, Pablo, we'll show you something.
Say, the Grand Duchess is all right, isn't she? Hey, Grand Duchess, can I help?
She's got a wonderful face for a mask, hasn't she?
She's really a nice woman, you know, considering she's a Grand Duchess.
Yes. It's wonderful what some people go through, isn't it? Still keep kind of gay, too.
Yes. She made me forget about everything for a moment.
Suppose I better call that cab.
No, wait, Paul. Here they are. Maybe Tony. Ed, will you go and bring my bag down?
Don't you do it, Ed.
Ed, please.
All right, Ed, bring him down. Do you know you've got the stubbornest daughter in all 48 states?
That must be the cab.
If it is, it's certainly a wonderful service.
Is Tony here, Alice?
Yes. Yes, he is. Come in, Mr. Kirby.
How do you do?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Forgive my intruding, it's just... Tony, I want you to come home with me right now. Your mother's very upset.
Very well, Father. Goodbye, Alice.
Goodbye, Tony.
I need hardly say that, well, this is as upsetting to Mrs. Kirby and myself as it is to, well, you people. Look, I'm sorry, but I'm sure you understand.
Well, yes, and in a way, no. Now, Mr. Kirby, I'm not the type of person to try and run other people's lives for them, but the fact of the matter is that these young folk, they don't have as much sense as you and I have.
Grandpa, will you please not do this?
I'm just talking to Mr. Kirby. A cat can look at a king, can't he?
You want me to do that for you, Alice?
No, thanks, Mother.
You've got plenty of time before the train comes.
Will you send a cab to 761 Claremont right away, please? That's right. Thank you.
Alice.
Father.
Are you ready, Tony?
Now, Mr. Kirby, after last night, you must think this family is sort of crazy.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. However, I'm not accustomed to going out to dinner and then spending the night in jail.
Well, you ought to remember, Mr. Kirby, that you came on the wrong night. Now, now tonight, perhaps, that may not happen. Maybe.
Mr. Vanderhoff, it was not merely last night that convinced Mrs. Kirby and myself that this engagement would be unwise.
Father, I can handle my own affairs. Alice, for the last time, will you marry me?
No, Tony. I know exactly what your father means, and he's right.
No, Alice, he's not.
Alice, you're not going to marry this boy because we're the type of people we are.
Grandpa.
I know. You think that the two families, they wouldn't get along. Well, who's to say that they're right, we're wrong?
I didn't say that, Grandpa. I only feel as
Well, I feel that Tony here is too nice of a boy to wake up 20 years from now with nothing in his life but stocks and bonds.
How's that?
Yes, mixed up and unhappy. The way you are.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Vanderhoff. I am a very happy man.
Are you?
Why, certainly I am.
I don't think so. What do you think you get your indigestion from? Happiness? No, sir. You get your indigestion because your day is spent simply doing things that you don't want to do.
I don't do anything that I don't want to do.
Yes, you do. You even said it last night at dinner. At the end of the week in Wall Street, you're pretty near crazy. Why do you keep on doing it?
Why do I keep up? Why, it's my business. A man doesn't just give up on his business.
Why not? You got all the money you need. You can't take it with you.
Why, that is a very easy thing for you to say, Mr. Vanderhoff. But I have spent my entire life building up my business.
And what's it got you? Same type of mail, same type of deals, same meetings, same dinners at night, same indigestion. Where does the fun come in, Mr. Kirby? You must have wanted something more than when you started out. We haven't much time left, you know, any of us.
So what do you propose I do? live the way you do and do nothing.
Well, I have a lot of time for everything. Time to read, talk, visit the zoo now and then, practice my darts. I even have enough time to notice when the spring comes around. I don't have to talk to anybody I don't want to. I don't have 6 hours of things I have to do before I get 1 hour of things I like to do. And I haven't taken a bicarbonate of soda in 35 years. What's the matter with that?
Well, the matter with that? Well, suppose we all lived the way you did. A fine world we'd have. Everyone going to zoos. Don't be ridiculous, Mr. Vanderhoff. Who would do the work?
Well, there's always people to do the work. You can't stop them. Inventions, and they fly the ocean. There's always people who go down to Wall Street, too, because they like it. But from what I've seen of you, Mr. Kirby, I think you're different. I think you're missing something.
Oh, really? Well, I'm not aware of missing anything.
Well, I wasn't either, until I quit. I used to get down to that office 9 o'clock every morning, sharp, no matter how I felt. I used to lay awake nights for fear that I wouldn't make that contract. I used to worry about the world, too. Whether Cleveland or Blaine was going to be elected president. But what matters now? What I'm trying to say, Mr. Kirby, is that I've had 35 years that no one can take away from me, no matter what they do to the world. See?
Why, yes, I do see. And it's a very dangerous philosophy. It's un-American, and it's exactly why I'm opposed to this marriage. I don't want Tony to come under its influence.
What's the matter with it, Father?
The matter with it? Tony, it's downright communism, that's what it is.
You didn't always think so.
What? Of course I did. What are you talking about?
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. You didn't always think so, because there was a time when you wanted to be a trapeze artist.
Oh, well.
Don't be an idiot, Tony.
Yes, you did. I saw those letters you wrote to grandfather. Do you remember those?
No! How dare you? How dare you read those letters?
Why? Isn't that wonderful? Did you wear tights, Mr. Kirby?
Certainly not. The whole thing is absurd. I was 14 years old at the time.
Yes, but at 18 you wanted to be a saxophone player.
Tony!
And at 21 you ran away from home because grandfather wanted you to go into the business. It's all down there in black and white. You didn't always think so.
Well.
Look, I may have had my silly notions in my youth, but thank God my father knocked them right out of me. I went into business, and I have since forgotten all about them.
Not altogether, Father. There's still a saxophone at the back of your clothes closet.
There is. Oh.
That's enough, Tony. We'll discuss this later.
No, I want to talk about this now. Mr. Vanderhoff is right. Dead right. And I'm not going back to that office. I've always hated it, and I'm not going on with it. And I'll tell you something else. I didn't make a mistake bringing you here last night. I knew it was the wrong night. I brought you here on purpose.
Tony, why, for heaven's
Because I wanted to wake you up. I wanted you to see a family as they really were. A family who loves and understands each other. You don't understand me. You've never had time. That's why I'm not going to make your mistake. I'm clearing out.
You're clearing out? Tony, what do you mean?
I mean, I'm not going to be dragged into the business just because I'm your son. I'm getting out while there's still time.
Okay, Tony, think about this. What are you going to do?
Maybe I'll be a bricklayer, but at least I'll be doing something I want to do.
That must be the cab.
Tell him to wait a minute, Ed.
Grandpa.
Alice, do you mind? Now, Mr. Kirby, Tony here is going through exactly what you and I did when we were his age. If you listen hard enough, You can hear yourself saying the same things to your father 25 years ago. We all did it. We were right, too. All those plans we made, what happened to them? How many of us were willing to settle for what we eventually get while we're so young? There's only a handful of lucky ones that can look back and say that they even came close. So what I'm trying to say, Mr. Kirby, is that before they go and clean out your closet, well, I get a good couple hours in on that saxophone.
I beg your pardon, but before I make the blintzes, how many will there be for dinner?
Your Highness, may I introduce to you Mr. Anthony Kirby and Mr. Anthony Kirby Jr., the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina.
Highness? How's that?
How do you do? Before I make the blintzes, how many will there be to dinner?
Oh, I'd make quite a stack. Can't ever be too sure.
Good. That's all always said to me. Olga, do not be stingy with the blintzes.
Pardon me, Mr. Vanderhoff. Who did you say that was?
The Grand Duchess Olga Katrina. She's cooking the dinner.
Oh.
Yes. And speaking of dinner, Mr. Kirby, why don't you and Tony both stay?
Why?
Oh, please do, Mr. Kirby. We have all that food we were going to have last night. Or tonight.
It'll be quite a dinner, and it'll kind of give us a chance to get acquainted. Why not stay?
How about it, Father? We going to stay to dinner tonight?
Why, if you'd care to, Tony, Yes, I'd like to very much.
Now, if Alice will send off that cab, Mr. Vanderhoff.
How about it, Alice? Looks like it's going to be quite a crowd. Are you going to stay to dinner?
Alice, I'm staying. And besides, both of the families ought to get to know each other, don't you think?
Mr. Kirby. Tony. Oh, Tony.
Darling.
Grandpa, you're wonderful.
I've been telling you that for years.
Here's a letter for you, Grandpa. It was in the icebox.
Oh, letter from me. The government again.
How do you do, Mr. Kirby?
How do you do?
Why, don't you step into the office? I'd like to do a little dictating. I'm going to tell that cab.
Well.
What is it, Grandpa?
The United States government apologizes. Seems I don't owe them a nickel. I've been dead 8 years.
What do you mean, Grandpa?
Well, you remember Charlie, the milkman, buried under my name?
Yes.
I simply told them that I was Martin Vanderhoff Jr., and they are very sorry. I may even get a refund.
Why, Grandpa, you old crook?
Sure.
Pardon me, Mr. Vanderhoff, but how did you say you escaped the income tax?
Well,
Tonight, my friends, you're going to eat.
Why, hi there. How do you do?
How do you do?
I'm fine. I'm more than fine. It's great to see you again.
What has happened?
he's relaxing. That's right. Play something, Ed.
I'm sorry, I'm not very good. I'm a far better wrestler, I swear.
Everything will be ready in a minute. You can sit down.
Come on, everybody. Dinner. Come on, Mr. Kirby.
Yes, I'm coming.
As you stop dancing and come to dinner.
You will like Russian food, Mr. Kirby.
But you must be careful of your indigestion.
Nonsense. I haven't any indigestion.
So, how was your trip to the Adirondacks?
Shut your face, Mr. Kirby.
In Russia, when they
Quiet, everybody, quiet. Well, sir, here we are again. We'd just like to say thank you for everything that you've done for us. Seems that everything's going to be just fine. Alice is going to marry Tony, and it seems as they're going to be very happy together. Now, the fireworks did all blow up, but that was Mr. DePinna's fault, and not yours. Now, remember, all we want is our help. But as far as anything else is concerned, well, we'll just leave that to you. Thank you.
Grandpa, I have heard from my friend in Siberia.
Mr. Kirby, do you like
Well, save the stand for me, Miss Kolekov.
Why, it's my favorite dish.
I want to dance with you, Mr. Kirby. I got a new Mr. Kirby. Well, here goes the Adirondacks.
And a very good thing, too.
for us, and thanks so much for coming out. It means so much to us, and you have no idea. But before we go, we just have to thank a few people first. So first, I'd like Kylie to go up, and she's going to thank a couple people here.
Alright, so I'd love to thank these four lovely ladies. They have rifled through our costume room. They have gone to Selkirk, they have gone to UW, every valley village in the city, and all of the back of our closets. Alright, they have been through, they're just as much a part of us, this as us. They've been to every rehearsal. I'd like to call up our costume crew. and they've all learned it all through these past 2 months, which is crazy hard. So let's bring down the tech crew. The marketing crew. They have made the posters, they've made Facebook pages, they've made tickets and trailers and just everything that has to do with you guys finding out about this. So let's bring up the tech crew, or marketing crew.
Play's only as good as its set behind it. Well, without it, you could be at a beach in Hawaii. Who the hell knows? Plus, you could also be smoking a cigarette. But are you really smoking anything if you don't have the cigarette in your hands? Well, that's where Set and Props comes in. And we have had a dedicated and fantastic team painting sets, scouring God knows where to find people.
Bossing us around and keeping us in check, which is obviously really hard at times because we're massive and a bunch of weirdos, if you can't tell. So we have Mr. Neil, Vanessa, Alyssa, Tanner, Brendan, Madame Ibanez, Miss Jans, Mr. Zimmerino, and no, that's for later. And yeah, so they can all come on up.
Thanks for coming out, and remember, you can't take it with you.
is melody? What good is music if it ain't possessing something sweet? Now it ain't the melody and it ain't the music. There's something else that makes this tune complete. Yes, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Well, don't mean a thing. All you got to do is sing. It makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. Just give that rhythm everything you got. Yes, don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing, boy. I said don't mean a thing, and all you got to do is sing like la 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 do 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 do. Now it makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. Just to give that rhythm everything you got. Oh, don't mean a thing, boy, if it ain't got a swinger. Take it, chummy.